Hollywood Rock is back as The Rock used his 2003 Hollywood heel theme last night on SmackDown before delivering a rock concert for Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, as well as sending a message to Cody Rhodes' mother, which he also did on social media. We've got the full promo. Jimmy vs. Jey Uso is now official for WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Speaking of WrestleMania, a US Championship triple threat match is now confirmed for the premium live event. AJ Styles vs. LA Knight is also confirmed for the Showcase of the Immortals. Katsuyori Shibata versus Bryan Danielson has been announced for tonight's episode of AEW Collision. Darby Allin will no longer be climbing Mount Everest. That's because he was injured during his Dynamite Big Business match this past week. The tag team title bracket for a SmackDown tag team to qualify for the six-pack ladder match at WrestleMania 40 is confirmed. Deonna Purrazzo has revealed her tag team partner for her match on Dynamite next week. Speaking of tag team titles, AEW has revealed the tag team title bracket to determine the brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions, and several WWE superstars are going to be appearing for GCW during WrestleMania weekend. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about The Rock, as The Rock was in prime heel mode last night on SmackDown in Memphis, Tennessee, because on last night's SmackDown, Dwayne The Rock Johnson opened up the show with a song and an ominous warning for Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins ahead of the tag team match at WrestleMania Saturday. Now, opening up last night's SmackDown with The Rock, the segment would go on to last around sort of 20 minutes or so, including a song for Cody Rhodes and Rollins. The Rock would use a heel version of his entrance theme, reminiscent of his Hollywood Rock theme from 2003. It was the theme from 2003. It was just a bit of a remixed version. Now, after making his entrance, The Rock noted that while he had been on a run of torching and scorching every city he was in, Memphis was different. That's because he detailed how his wrestling career actually began in Memphis, Tennessee. The crowd all the way through the segment was incredibly supportive and chanted Rocky over and over and over again. Recalling that at the time his name was Flex Kavanaugh, he went on to do his signature catchphrase of "Finally The Rock has come back home," promising the crowd some fun. The Rock would go on to sing a little song complete with backup musicians. Within the song, The Rock told the historically accurate story of Cody Rhodes' life, including doubling down on his mistake comment from last week when referring to the American Nightmare. Adding a verse just for Seth Rollins, The Rock said Rollins' wife, Becky Lynch, was more popular than Rollins, and he was going to make his title, quote, disappear. There was also a special verse for the Cody Crybabies, in which he referred to himself as the final boss, as Corey Graves had earlier on during his entrance. He would then go on to take a much more serious and ominous tone, addressing Cody Rhodes directly and spending much of the promo telling an ominous story about his plan to beat Rhodes and present Mama Rhodes with a gift, saying that he would beat Cody with his special own The Rock weight bout. He would then present it to Cody's mother with the comments, "What can I say? You're welcome," a line from obviously Moana, which of course The Rock was a big character in, after using it to brutalize Cody. Many people were raving about the segment on social media, but it wasn't the only thing on social media The Rock did yesterday as well, because before SmackDown, he dropped this promo calling out the American Nightmare and once again doubling down on his comments towards Cody Rhodes' mother.
Good morning. Good morning on this Friday morning. Did you guys have a good week? Did you have a productive week? I hope so. Did you get a lot of ass kicking done? I hope so. You're going to end your week on a down note, or you're going to end your week on an uptick, getting momentum going into the weekend? I hope so. It's been a big week. It has been an exciting week. It's a big week here in the world of professional wrestling, because once again, professional wrestling is cool. Once again, professional wrestling is relevant. Once again, everyone's talking about professional wrestling. Why? Because of one man. And you're looking at him because of The Rock, because of the People's Champion. Professional wrestling is happening because of the final boss, The Rock. And it feels good. It feels good. Selling out everywhere, from Dallas, Texas, Glendale, Arizona, Salt Lake City, Utah, Memphis, Tennessee. Tonight, after this workout, The Rock is going to jump on his private jet. He's going to fly down to Memphis, Tennessee, and get ready. Live SmackDown. The Rock is coming home, baby. Cannot wait. That's good unleaded. That's good unleaded. It's been a big week, though. A lot to celebrate. Ratings are up. Sellouts everywhere The Rock goes. Wrestling is cool again, all because of The Rock. It's also been a big week because everyone is talking. Last week, everyone is talking about the slap that was heard around the world. Finally, Cody Rhodes grew some balls. Finally, that little boy got some hair on his nuts and he slapped the shit out of The Rock. He slapped the shit out of me. Well done, Cody Rhodes. The Rock has been waiting for you to man up, giving him a challenge that's worthy of the great one. Ooh, that was a good slap too. What did The Rock do? He didn't pretend like he was angry. He didn't get a bunch of goofs and jabronis trying to hold him back. No. The Rock took your slap like a man. As a matter of fact, The Rock started smiling. Yeah, because The Rock likes pain. But that's a whole other conversation. And Cody Rhodes, The Rock couldn't wait. The world couldn't wait to see how you were going to react and respond after that Friday slap. On Monday Night Raw, 2 days later, what were you going to do? And you get on Monday Night Raw, you get in the middle of that ring, the world is watching, and here's what you did. Here's how you responded to the biggest moment of your career when you slapped The Rock. Are you fucking kidding me? You start fucking crying. You start crying. That's how you respond. No wonder all your fans are crybabies. Cody crybabies. No wonder, because they're Superman, their hero. He's not crying too. You can cry. You can cry. I can't give the belt to Dusty, but I can give it to my mama. I can give it to my mommy. My mommy. Shut the fuck up. Give it to your mommy. Cody. This is how real it is to The Rock. Chills. This is how real it is to The Rock. You ain't giving the title to your mama. You ain't giving that title, the Universal title, to your mama. That title is going to remain around the waist of Roman Reigns. Here's what's going to happen at WrestleMania. And The Rock wants your mama to have a front row seat. Mama Rhodes, The Rock is talking to you. Yeah, now you're in The Rock's crosshairs. Here's what's going to happen. Mama Rhodes, you're not going to get the Universal title handed to you on night 2 of WrestleMania. No. You're going to get a title handed to you. You're going to get a belt handed to you. It's going to be The Rock's belt. It's going to be something like this. Something like this. Leather, Brahma bull, blood, sweat, respect. The blood part, that's going to be your son's blood. It's going to be all over this belt. I'm going to take this belt, Mama Rhodes, and I'm going to whoop your son. I'm going to whoop him like a dog. I'm going to whip the piss out of him. I'm going to whip the blood out of him. I'm going to get all his blood on this belt and all his sweat on this belt is what I'm going to do. I'm going to whoop him and whoop him and whoop him and whoop him in front of the world. Now I'm going to take this belt, Mama Rhodes, full of your son's blood, and then I'm going to hand it to you in front of the world. And I'm going to say, here you go, Mama Rhodes. You're going to be crying just like your son, just like all of his Cody Crybaby fans, because you're all a bunch of crybabies. You're going to be crying. Why are you so mean to my son, Rock? Give you this belt, Mama Rhodes. And I'm going to say, Mama Rhodes, here's your belt. Now down is the direction you can sit. I'm gonna look at your son who's gonna be in the middle of the ring bleeding, crying. Look at all his Cody Crybaby fans and tell them off is a direction you can fuck. And that's how you end a story. And that is how Cody Rhodes, your story is going to end at WrestleMania, boy. Crying in a pool of your own blood, this belt sitting in your mama's lap. And Mama Rhodes, don't worry. There's two things that you could do about it. Nothing and like it. Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, your story is going to end courtesy of Roman Reigns and courtesy of your nightmare. The Rock, the final boss. If you smell what The Rock is cooking. Now, Mama Rhodes, don't go crying too much now. See you at WrestleMania. Shit.
So what do you think of The Rock's promo last night? What do you think of his promo on social media? Just watch the reaction to all of it. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Now, speaking of The Rock's family, we're going to be getting some family members face off at WrestleMania. It's going to be Jimmy and Jey Uso, because on last night's SmackDown, Jimmy Uso responded to Jey Uso having issued a challenge for WrestleMania 40. When Kayla Braxton approached the arriving Bloodline backstage and frightened Paul Heyman, she revealed that she was really looking to ask about a response to Jey Uso's challenge. On this week's episode of Raw, Jey Uso had an in-ring segment where he challenged his brother Jimmy Uso to a match against one another at WrestleMania 40. When Heyman hesitated in responding to the question, Jimmy Uso immediately jumped in front of the camera to answer for himself, saying that he had seen Raw and saw Jey in the ring talking about him, and he was perfectly happy to meet him in the ring at WrestleMania 40. So, the match is on. It's going to be brother versus brother at WrestleMania 40. Now, speaking of WrestleMania, the US Championship match for the show has now been confirmed as well, because Logan Paul has a match at WrestleMania 40. Following a match between Randy Orton and Austin Theory, SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis appeared to tell Paul that at WrestleMania 40, he would be defending the United States Championship against both Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a triple threat match. Now, Paul had been on commentary for the Orton versus Theory bout and got physically involved afterward, with Theory holding Orton's arm behind him to set up Paul for a punch. But before he could pull the trigger, however, Owens came down to the ring. The champ bounced before he caught heat from his familiar foe. Instead, Theory took a stunner and bounced straight into an RKO. So that match is now set also for WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. Speaking of matches that have been confirmed too, AJ Styles versus LA Knight is also confirmed for the show of shows. Now, two WWE superstars that haven't seen eye to eye since mid-December will now have the opportunity to settle things the old-fashioned way, one-on-one at WrestleMania 40. LA Knight joined Kayla Braxton atop the WWE SmackDown stage and quickly cut to the chase, putting forth the challenge to AJ Styles for WrestleMania. When the time for talking was over, it seemed as though Knight would have to wait until early April to get a piece of the Phenomenal One, until the latter showed up, chair in hand, addressing the challenge after smashing Knight in the back, propping the chair over him and accepting in a dominant position. Now, these adversaries have been in each other's crosshairs since Styles' return from injury on an episode of SmackDown in mid-December last year, when he took out Universal Champion Roman Reigns before turning his attention toward Knight and blasting him with a clothesline. Soon after, it was announced that all of Knight, Styles and Randy Orton would face Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble, where the Tribal Chief would prevail. Prior to the Rumble, all three challengers temporarily united to even the odds against the Bloodline, but ultimately, the Knight/Styles beef would carry through to Elimination Chamber, where Styles interfered strongly enough to cost Knight his chances in the match entirely. Now, Knight and Styles have only squared off in one-on-one competition once before on the January 19th episode of SmackDown, in a match that ended in a no contest, with Styles now carrying a bit more of a vicious edge to his game as he approaches his 8th career WrestleMania match. The megastar may have the odds stacked against him in his debut at the WWE trademark event. Now, let's talk about AEW because a big match has been announced for tonight's edition of AEW Collision because former Ring of Honor Pure Champion Katsuyori Shibata has been away from the US for a number of months, but the wrestler is back and in a very big way. Shibata dropped his Pure Championship to Wheeler Yuta on the November 25 edition of AEW Rampage last year, a result that surprised a lot of fans given how dominant he had been during their previous encounters. Now, it turned out that Shibata needed to return to Japan due to a visa issue, but according to a recent report from Fightful Select, that issue was rectified earlier this week, and he will be returning to AEW Collision tonight to face the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. The match was initially announced on social media by AEW President Tony Khan, who called it an impossible dream and a personal dream match for the former New Japan star, who also has unfinished business with the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, Fightful Select reported that Khan had big plans for Shibata before he had to return to Japan, and that Shibata himself was very happy working for All Elite Wrestling. Khan reiterated his point of having big plans for the former New Japan star by announcing he had signed a full-time contract with the company in December of last year, a time where Shibata was still dealing with his visa issues in Japan. Now, elsewhere on tonight's broadcast, fans in Ottawa will see the in-ring return of Kyle O'Reilly, who will wrestle for his first match since AEW since June of 2022 against Brian Keith. Julia Hart will defend the AEW TBS Championship in an open house match against the Infantry's Trish Adora. The first round of the tournament to determine the new AEW Tag Team Champions will commence as well, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, some interesting news when it comes to Darby Allin as well, because of course he was written off television this week. That was to climb Mount Everest. But now, this climb isn't going to happen because over 6,000 people have climbed Mount Everest, but after a TMZ report and Darby Allin himself posting an X-ray image of his broken foot onto social media, it has become very clear that Darby Allin will not be joining that exclusive club anytime soon. Darby faced off against Switchblade Jay White this past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite Big Business, presumably his final match before leaving to climb Everest on March 27. Now, 2 minutes into the match, according to TMZ, he landed awkwardly and after holding his now injured foot briefly, limped back into a standing position. Darby ultimately finished the match against White, who pinned him following a Blade Runner. Eerily, there were already plans in place for White and Bullet Club Gold to give Darby a kayfabe ankle injury after the match, which would have served to write him off TV to allow this Everest trip. Now, Darby completed the segment, broken foot and all, and in an X post, he linked to the TMZ article, which confirmed his injury with a picture of the bandaged foot and the corresponding X-ray. Now, the extent of Darby Allin's foot injury is currently unknown. He'd recently made headlines following a glass pane high spot at AEW Revolution, and any timeline regarding his return to the ring is currently unclear as of this recording. As you can see in his social media post, he said, "Unfortunately, the foot's really broke from Wednesday's match. Everest will have to be next year." So that match, that climb is now off. We wish Darby Allin the best in his recovery. Now, speaking of WrestleMania, some more details when it comes to the Tag Team Championship ladder match scheduled for the show, because the finals are set in bracket number 1. Legado del Fantasma, that being Angel and Humberto, will face New Catch Republic, that being Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, in the finals of bracket 1 for the 6-pack ladder qualifiers. The winning team will advance to the 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. Legado earned their spot in the match on SmackDown last night, defeating the LWO, that's Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, with a pop-up gut kick on Wilde. Meanwhile, New Catch Republic earned the match by defeating Pretty Deadly with the Birmingham Hammer. So that match is confirmed. It's not said when the bout is going to take place, but that is confirmed. You can see the bracket on the screen right there. Speaking of tag teams, Deonna Purrazzo has confirmed who her tag team partner is going to be for a big match on Dynamite next week. At AEW Revolution, Timeless Toni Storm defeated Deonna Purrazzo to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. Purrazzo has kept her sights set on Storm ever since, and at AEW Dynamite Big Business, she said she would have no problem finding a partner to face Storm and Mariah May. On the March 15 episode of AEW Rampage, Toni Storm and Mariah May defeated Little Mean Kathleen and Kayla Sparks. After the bout, Deonna Purrazzo came to the stage and revealed Thunder Rosa as her mystery partner. She said they would see Storm and May next week. The match was confirmed for the March 20 episode of AEW Dynamite from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Speaking of tag teams in AEW and tag team titles, the bracket for the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament has been revealed. The AEW World Tag Team Championships were, of course, vacated following AEW Revolution on March 3rd, where Darby Allin and Sting defeated the Young Bucks to retain the titles. Sting retired after the bout. On the March 15 episode of AEW Rampage, the broadcast team revealed the bracket for the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament, which will begin on tonight's episode of AEW Collision. In the first round, the Young Bucks will face Private Party. The Undisputed Kingdom will face either the Best Friends or the Don Callis family, who will clash in a wildcard match. On the other side of the bracket, Ricky Starks and Big Bill will face Top Flight, while FTR will face either the Infantry or will face the House of Black, who will collide in a wildcard match as well. The tournament finals will be held at AEW Dynasty on April 21st. So more details have now emerged when it comes to that. Now, this is a really interesting story, too, about WWE superstars competing outside of WWE during WrestleMania week. One is going to be Shayna Baszler. Yes, recent years have seen quite a few WWE talents propelled outside of their usual territory for rare matches in companies such as Reality of Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, and All Japan Pro Wrestling. And this trend will now continue as former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Shayna Baszler gears up to participate in Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. As announced on X, Baszler will make her official GCW debut at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 10 event on Thursday, April 4. While the capacity in which Baszler will appear is yet to be confirmed, Barnett has hyped up her upcoming debut, writing, quote, "What does it mean when a queen takes up the sword and marches to war? Blood, victory, glory." From battlefields all over the world, MMA and the UFC, NXT, WWE, Stardom and more, to now step into a ring she was made for from the beginning. The War Master's disciple, the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler, comes to Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 10. Now, per usual, Bloodsport will be hosted under the umbrella of the GCW Collective. This year's series of events will be running throughout WrestleMania 40 weekend in Philadelphia. Unlike traditional wrestling shows, Bloodsport competition takes place in a ring without any ropes or turnbuckles, and as an added stipulation, victories can only be secured via submission or knockout. Now, following the news of her Bloodsport appearance, Shayna Baszler proclaimed on social media that while GCW adopted the Bloodsport concept, she was born in and molded by it. Of course, she said, quotes, "From Billy Robinson, the gene seed of the War Master himself, blood for the blood god," Baszler wrote. Now, Baszler isn't the only performer slated to make her GCW debut at Bloodsport. Amidst his ongoing post-WWE tour, Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, will be making a stop there as well. For this occasion, Nemeth is tasked with facing former TNA X Division champion Speedball Mike Bailey, who enters this event with 2 previous Bloodsport matches already under his belt. But it isn't just going to be Baszler as well. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, he has been told that multiple WWE talents will be competing at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport event on Thursday, that WrestleMania week. So it's not just going to be Baszler. So the question is, who else is it going to be? Who would you like to see compete at Bloodsport? And do you think this is going to be a continuation of a trend under the Triple H/Nick Khan-led WWE under the TKO umbrella? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. But there you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.